I got a legal notice from the company that makes Jeep, and I want to be clear, it was not a good moment. But what happened next changed how I make money online forever. And what I learned from that phone call is something every Etsy seller needs to hear before they list a single product. Now, maybe you're doing the math right now. Social Security isn't going to be enough. Your 401k isn't where you want it to be. You're not broke, but the gap between where you are and where you need to be feels real. And someone told you to start a side hustle. And you probably rolled your eyes a little bit because most of the people teaching that stuff are 26 years old with no mortgage, no family, responsibilities, none, and all the time in the world. Yep, totally been there. You know exactly what you're talking about. Working 40 plus hours a week, traveling constantly, thinking there's no room in my life for something new. Hi, my name is Christian. I'm 58. I'm not a business coach, but I have spent over 30 years in corporate training and sales, and I've trained a room full of professionals across the country and around the world. I figured out print on demand the same way I figured out most things, by doing it while I was still doing everything else. Now, I'm not going to tell you I made $1 million on Etsy because I didn't, and I haven't. But I will tell you is that I'm 58 years old, and I figured this out while employed full time. I designed my first Etsy listing late at night in a hotel room between corporate training sessions. And that store has been paying me consistent monthly income ever since. And one day, out of nowhere, I got a notice from Etsy, then direct contact from the legal team at Stellantis, the company that owns Dodge, Jeep Eagle, Ram, Chrysler, Fiat, Maserati, and more. Well, that phone call taught me more about making money on Etsy than any course I ever paid for, and I'm going to tell you exactly what happened and why it matters for you. Now, first, you may be thinking, what is print on demand and why does it actually work? Here's the simple version. You create a design, you put it on a product like a t-shirt, a mug, a tote bag, whatever. You list it in your Etsy store. Someone buys it. A company like Printify prints it, packages it, and ships it directly to your customer. You never touch inventory. You never pack a box. You never have to deal with returns. Your only job is two things. Create designs people want to buy and make sure the right people can find them. That's the whole business. Now, here's where almost everyone goes wrong, and I mean everyone. They spend weeks trying to find a niche because that's what you're told on YouTube and Facebook. Coffee mugs for nurses, t-shirts for teachers, gifts for dog moms. It's not totally wrong, but it's incomplete. And it's why most people quit after 30 days. The real question isn't who you're selling to. It's what moment in their life are you selling to? People don't buy t-shirts because they need a t-shirt. They buy them because something is happening in their life. A wedding is coming up and someone needs a funny gift. It's boss's day and they want to say thank you in a way that lands. And a parent wants to wear their kid's number on their back at every single game. Find the moment, not just the market. And here's the part that makes people over 50 better at this than anyone else selling on Etsy right now. You have decades of understanding how people actually feel. You've been to weddings, funerals, graduations, retirements. You've moved through grief, joy, and every quiet, ordinary moment in between. That's not baggage, that's inventory. Now let me tell you about the notice. I'm a Jeep owner, have been for years. So naturally, I started designing things for Jeep people because I am one. I know the culture, the wave, the obsession, know exactly what we think is funny, ducks. Those listings started getting views and then sales. And then one day I got a message from Etsy and then direct contact from the legal team at Stellantis. My stomach dropped because in my head, I'm thinking, great. I finally figured out an income stream in my 50s. And now I'm about to get sued by $1 billion car company. 7 listings flagged. All original designs, nothing copied, and nothing I thought was infringement. It didn't matter because here's what I didn't know and what most POD sellers never find out until it's too late. Simple things like the 7-bar grill on a Jeep. Those little things are trademarked, registered with the U.S. Patent Office, not available for use on merchandise. Here's what I want you to hear, though. It wasn't a lawsuit, and it wasn't a fine, because I handled it the way I handle most things professionally, directly, without panic. That conversation turned into something I never expected. The legal team spent time explaining exactly what I couldn't, and more importantly, what I could do around the Jeep brand. I got a free masterclass in intellectual property from one of the largest automotive companies in the world, all because I made a mistake and handled it like an adult, which after 50 years of life, most of us have learned to do pretty well. The lesson? You can design around a brand without infringing on it. Jeep culture, off-road culture, the lifestyle, none of that is trademarked. The logo is, the grill is. Know the difference and you're fine. So I fixed those listings in about 20 minutes. That mistake became one of the most valuable education moments in my entire Etsy journey. How you handle a mistake is worth more than never making one. Here's a question I want you to actually sit with for a second. What moment in someone's life do you already understand better than most people? Is it the moment someone retires and suddenly doesn't know who they are? The moment a grandparent holds a first grandchild? The moment someone finally pays off their house? Whatever that moment is, that's where your first bestseller is hiding. Drop it in the comments right now. I'll read every single one. Here's what my actual production stack looks like. 4 tools. That's it. Canva for basic designs, Kittl for vintage stuff, and it's slightly more graphic design than Canva. Placeit for mockups, Everbee for keywords and trending searches. 4 tools. That's the business. 0 ads, pure SEO. That's the entire marketing strategy. Here's the honest version of what this actually pays. I spend about 5 hours a month on my store, maintaining listings, updating keywords, occasionally adding something new. That's it. I know it's not millions, and this is not a rags to riches story, but for those of us doing retirement math, for those of us who know exactly what one extra $200 or $300 a month means, that's a car payment. That's a utility bill. That's a prescription that didn't have to come out of savings. And it runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without me punching a clock. Designs you create this month could still be paying you when you're 70. That's the first time in my life I ever created something once and got paid for it for years. And here's what I wish someone had told me before I started. The first few months, you're going to feel like you're shouting into a void. Your listings will sit there. Views will be low. You'll wonder if you made a mistake. That's normal. But here's what I couldn't see when I first started. I have designs I created 4 years ago that are still making sales today without me touching them, without me running ads, without really doing anything. And that's what early effort buys you, years of quiet income later. My best sellers aren't the ones I was most proud of. They're the ones that connected with a specific human moment at exactly the right time. You can't predict which design that will be. You can only keep creating until you find it. And when you do, that design will keep selling long after you've forgotten that you made it. I know, because it's happened to me more than once. Here's the thing nobody tells you when you're starting something new after 50. The people who win at this aren't the youngest ones in the room. They're the ones who already understand people, who've lived through enough to know what a real moment feels like, who handle a mistake from a corporate legal team professionally because they've handled worse. That's you. This was built for you. You don't need to show your face. You don't need a design degree. You don't need to be tech savvy. You just need to find your moment and start. Now, if you want to figure out which income stream fits your actual life right now, I created the Over 40 Income Starter Kit. It's free. It's down in the description below. It's 8 questions, 5 minutes. Tells you exactly where to start. Subscribe if you want to watch this build in real time. Every week, real numbers, real mistakes, real results from someone who started late, me, and started anyway. That's what late starters do. You're not starting from zero. You're starting from experience. I'll see you in the next one.